Greg Cosell in a couple of minutes. Joy, it was interesting. For those just tuning in, breaking news, Josh Gordon is done with the Patriots this year, and he is, I would imagine, done in the NFL. Second, third, fourth, fifth chances. He was reinstated into the league, and he has done something inappropriate according to his reinstatement policy, so he is gone. By the way, I said when he came, Joy was here, I didn't buy this long-term. I said, I think, a lot of these things can work short-term. I never bought into Josh Gordon would be a trustable player, regardless of his personal issues, and I don't know specifically what they are. We wish the young man the very best. But Peter King, a couple of minutes ago, I thought put it best. This is on Belichick. This is not on Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going to get all the heat here when his season ends with a loss. It's not on Brady. In the last 10 years, New England's given Belichick's given Brady one good wide receiver.
I don't know that all the heat is going to be on Brady.
I hope it's not.
Because I think people are starting to see what it is Tom Brady has to work with, especially this season.
It's brutal.
There weren't a lot of expectations, I think, for the Patriots coming in just based off of how noisy their offseason was, which is very uncharacteristic for them. And they didn't have any receivers. I mean, getting Josh Gordon seemed like a great move, because if there was any place or any organization that you felt like he would have some success in, it would be the Patriots, because they are so system-oriented and they seem to take care of their players when they're there. So, I mean, it's unfortunate what's happened with Josh Gordon, but he's having to take care of himself.
The reason they had to throw a Hail Mary is because in the last 5 drafts, here's what they've given Tom Brady.
Right.
Sony Michel, a couple of guards, and James White. Go look at Dallas's defense, Chicago's defense, Kansas City's offense, San Diego's roster, how the Steelers draft wide receivers. Everybody wants to blame Brady.
They're taking advantage of Brady's greatness.
Belichick has not ever. New England doesn't do the college wide receiver well. They're the opposite of Pittsburgh. Seemingly everybody Pittsburgh drafts at wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster. Didn't matter if it was Hines Ward, James Washington, Antonio Brown. It doesn't matter. Even Marcus Wheaton could play. Everybody can play. Emmanuel Sanders, Antonio Holmes, Plaxico. It doesn't matter. New England can't figure wide receiver out, and it's now a league where wide receivers matter. I mean, look at this. Julian Edelman off an ACL has a case of the drops. Gronk, a shell of himself. Chris Hogan's a nice 3 receiver, a 4 on on the Chargers. Philip Dorsett was a bust in Indy, not really a big-time player. Cordarrelle Patterson, I mean, they're using him as a running back. So we're all going to blame Brady when he loses this season, but I don't think Belichick's done him any favors. And with that, 30-plus years at NFL Films, Greg Cosell, Josh Gordon is a talented guy, Greg. He was led the team in yards, second in snaps since week 5. He was a dangerous weapon. They didn't use him against Pittsburgh. Now we probably know why. I think it makes them easier to defend today. I think he was a real player. What's it say on film?
Well, just as a general point, I think we're all getting a little quick. This team's been pretty good for a long time. They're still going to be in the playoffs. If you go to the specific game you're speaking about with the Steelers' defense did some very interesting things and actually took a page out of the Belichick book, because what they did on some third downs, red zone, is they doubled Gronk, they doubled Gordon, they doubled Edelman. They also showed very multiple disguised looks. That is something they normally don't do. So they really changed up their approach to face the Patriots, and it was a factor in the game. And the Patriots couldn't run the ball consistently enough to really generate enough to stop some of that. So I just find it fascinating that now, after this run of almost unparalleled greatness, with 2 games left in the season, not you necessarily, Colin, but everybody's deciding that, okay, Brady's done.
Well, here's my thing. Systems sound great, but the Spurs system doesn't work once Tim Duncan's gone. The triangle offense only won with Michael and Kobe in their prime. I'm not saying there isn't some system here, but boy, this system was a lot more dynamic when Aaron Hernandez and Gronk and Randy Moss and Welker. I just don't see the dynamic speed players on offense. I think Gronk's a shell of himself.
And that might be true, and you can always argue that there's different eras of football, but the same argument was made when they were winning, when, let's say, they had David Gibbons at wide receiver and they had Branch at wide receiver, who were not considered high-level wideouts relative to the rest of the league. So I tend to agree. I think that scheme is really good, and I've always been a big believer in coaching in every sport, but definitely in the NFL. But I think scheme-based offenses at times can struggle. I think we're seeing that a bit with the Saints right now. They're very scheme-based, and their scheme's outstanding. But when all is said and done, they've got Michael Thomas, who's great at what he does, but he's a certain kind of player. And they've got Alvin Kamara, who's a dangerous matchup weapon in the pass game. And they don't have another receiver that any defense would say, we have to worry about him.
Yeah, and I think Josh Gordon was a guy that he is really a strong runner. You get him the football. I don't know. I feel like this is the year the margins have shrunk a little because of age for New England.
Possible.
So we'll see what transpires here. They do end with the Jets and the Bills, so they should win those. By the way, speaking of the Jets, just throw this out there. I don't look at every win as perfect or every loss as fatal. I thought Darnold was unbelievable Saturday in many instances. They don't have a ton to work with. They were missing their right tackle, their running back, their back. Listen, Sam Darnold, I think Saturday night was the best I've seen him as a pro. What did the film say?
I thought he played well. I think that he's played well a good part of the season. He's had ups and downs like any rookie quarterback. I've always felt watching him, and I certainly felt that way watching the tape, that he knows what he's looking at, that he does see things. I think he's willing to turn it loose, which I always view as a positive trait. He makes some big-time throws. He made a big-time throw on 3rd and 10 on the first possession of the third quarter to Robbie Anderson when he booted, I believe, out to his left. And that was a really good throw. So I think Sam Darnold's had a strong rookie season overall, and I think there's a lot to look forward to as he continues to progress.
Is this the best rookie class, or is it just the reality all these quarterbacks are working? Lamar's working. Josh Allen is working. Darnold, Baker, obviously. Is this a better rookie quarterback class, or is it just the league has changed and it's easier to succeed at that position?
Relatively speaking, I would say yes, because of one of the things, and we talked about this, I believe, last week or the week before, is there's so many shorter throws now. Those are easier throws. The quicker the drop, the less reading is involved. There's no reading on three-step drops for the most part. So when completion percentages are higher across the board, it's not that everybody all of a sudden became more accurate passers, Colin. It's the nature of NFL pass games are presenting quicker defined throws, and therefore everybody is able to complete a higher percentage of passes, and therefore younger guys are able to play sooner.
I want to shift to a situation in Philly, because I think Philly's going to win their next 2 games, and they're going to...
You do, huh?
I do. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs. Listen, I love Carson Wentz. You know that. But boy, Alshon Jeffrey emerges when Nick Foles starts. There is something going on here. I've asked everybody this week. I asked Michael Vick. I've asked guys who know Philadelphia. I love Wentz. I think Foles is a great backup. But when Nick is in, the offense can look very interesting and be very productive.
I think you have to be a little careful about that.
Okay.
I think that how quickly people forget things. Carson Wentz is a high-level talent at the quarterback position.
Right.
Carson Wentz is probably a top 3 or 4 talent in the league at the position.
I agree.
Okay? Last year, the Eagles were scoring well over 30 points a game before he got hurt, and he would have been the league MVP. He came back from an ACL. Who knows if he came back too early? Nick Foles, there's an incredibly wide variance in Nick Foles' play from week to week. He shouldn't be in the same conversation with Carson Wentz.
I agree.
So to me, this is not even worth a conversation. This is like trying to tell me that 2 and 2 is 5.
Well, we agree. It is funny, though. It always feels like Wentz is very connected to Zach Ertz.
And that's possible. And I think there have been times this year, and I think the tape bears that out, where he was very focused on Ertz. Now, Foles came in, and he hardly ever looked at Ertz.
Yes.
So, you can take that any way you want. To be honest with you, the tape showed that the Eagles' offensive performance was much more a function of the Rams' poor defense, which really has surprised me all year with some major fundamental breakdowns, given that it's Wade Phillips.
Let's talk about that. It is Wade Phillips. He is 72. Let's throw the age thing out there. You wouldn't have a 72-year-old offensive coordinator. They've got big names, Talib and Peters, Sue and Darnold. What do you see with the Rams defense? Because it is not, about 5 weeks ago, it feels like there's just gaps Big gap. Seattle twice gashed him on the ground.
I'm going to give you one example, okay? Just a play, one example. The Eagles had a 17-yard run by Darren